Alright, hello there, thrill seekers, and that was a little bit of the song Wichita Lineman, and it's kind of hot out here. That's weird, I didn't expect it to be hot out here, and the sun is beaming down because I'm recording this a little bit later in the day than I usually do. So, today I want to do a video that I'm titling Donald Hoffman is Wrong, and it's not exactly that Donald Hoffman is wrong, so it's a little bit of clickbait, but you know, that's how this game works on the YouTubes. But I came across a video that I'll link to in the description below because I've forgotten what the title is, and if I remember the title I put it down below on the terop. Terop is a Japanese word. What's terop in English? You know, I learned all these words in Japan because I never worked in the film business until I worked in Japan, so I learned all my film business works in Japan. So the word I know for this thing is terop. Terop is what this thing is on the screen when you put words on the screen. So I'll put it on the terop. What's terop in English? I don't know. Anyway, I'll put it on the terop, and that's what the title is of the video, the Donald Hoffman video. And I downloaded the transcript so I can read it to you a little bit. This isn't the entire transcript. I'm going to read you the transcript, and I'm going to tell you why I think Donald Hoffman is wrong. Maybe not 100% wrong, but kind of wrong. And let's just get into it. I'll just hop right into it. So here is what Donald Hoffman says in his video. Space-time. The sun and the moon, physical objects, everything we see inside of space and time is just our visualization tool. The reality we're interacting with is nothing like the visualization tool. There's nothing like space and time. We've made the rookie mistake of assuming that our headset, VR, our visualization tool, is the final reality. It's just a rookie mistake. It's like someone who's played Grand Theft Auto so long they have no idea there's a reality besides Grand Theft Auto. We're like that right now. If you look at your face in the mirror, if you look at what you see directly is just skin, hair, and eyes. That's all you see. And if you looked inside, if someone opened up your skull, you just see neurons and so forth. See, this is a transcript of something he's speaking out loud, and it's not really written to be read back, but anyway, so the grammar is all weird. Okay, but anyway, let's keep going. But what you know firsthand that you cannot see is your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, your love of music, your mood. So this is form and emptiness. So emptiness is your love, your dreams, your aspirations, your love of music, your mood. And form would be your skull, your neurons, and so forth, skin, hair, eyes, and all that. So form and emptiness, that's what we're talking about. So let's keep going. It's all in VR experience. No physical object, including my body, is conscious. Strictly speaking, my brain isn't conscious because my brain, in fact, doesn't even exist unless I render it, right? So if you're playing Grand Theft Auto, I'm playing a VR version of, and then he kind of wanders off and you go back. Like I say, this is written from words he's speaking with his mouth. This is a mouth. This is my imitation of a mouth. I got the steering wheel in front of me. I'm holding the steering wheel. If I look to the side, I no longer render the steering wheel, and there is no steering wheel. When I look here, I render it, and now there is a steering wheel. The same thing is true, strictly speaking, of neurons and brains. They're there when you render them, and they're not there when you don't. It's a VR system that you render objects in space and time as you need them because they're part of your visualization tool. And then you garbage collect them, you delete them when you don't need them. He's using all these sort of video game words, which I don't play video games or use a lot of computers. I mean, I use them to do my videos, but I don't know computer lingo a lot. But anyway, here we go. It's just like a VR player when they turn the steering wheel in Grand Theft Auto. They know what they're doing in the language of the game. I'm turning a steering wheel. But what they're really doing in terms of the supercomputer, right, which is the metaphor, which in the metaphor would be the deeper reality. They're toggling voltages and magnetic fields and circuits. They have no idea. There's probably trillions of voltage togglings going on for one turn of the wheel. All they see is a turn of the wheel. That's their notion of cause and effect, trivial. The real cause and effect is trillions of voltages getting toggled in fractions of a second. It's much more complicated. So when I talk evolution, I'm only going to be talking about assuming the headset. Now I'm within the framework of the headset because evolutionary theory is only a headset theory. It's not a theory of consciousness beyond time and space. Consciousness is like a kid in a candy store. It's never-ending exploration that is in principle never-ending. I can only see 3 dimensions of color: red, green dimensions, blue, yellow, and so forth. There are some pigeons that have color receptors in an extra dimension of color that I can't even imagine what it's like. Can you imagine a specific color you've never seen before? As rich as our world seems, we know that there's a rich possibility of conscious experience that we can't even concretely imagine. But consciousness itself, on this theory, is exploring all these possibilities, and right now we're sort of stuck in this little headset of 3 dimensions, a small amount of color that we can see, and so forth. We thought of it as the whole world. No, it's just a little headset. It's a prism. My imagination is stuck in only 3 dimensions. My colors are stuck in a certain range. Now here's the challenge. Suppose we chase that down. So we say, okay, there's going to be this ongoing dynamics of consciousness constantly going beyond what it knows, but there's going to be a dark side to it. Because going into the unknown, that means letting go of what you know, and that can be terrifying. Where literally you don't have concepts. All of your current concepts are inadequate. For those who meditate, I mean, when you go into silence, it's both healing and terrifying, right? If you really let go of all thoughts, you are going into the void. It can be scary. Like you want to go back, you grab back onto, it's your life jacket, right? As I say, he's talking and it's kind of not really grammatically correct, but I think you can follow. You grab onto your teddy bear, your thoughts. How would consciousness precisely this vast social network mathematically into space-time blah blah blah. Okay, I think you get the idea. I'm going to cut it off there because it's going on too long. So that's what he says. He's kind of saying there's this whole reality out there that we don't know, and he wants to know what that reality is. We're not seeing all of reality, and he wants to see what all of that reality is. He feels like, okay, there's this entire reality that we're not getting because there's all these colors we can't see, like the pigeons can see colors that we can't see, so there must be colors beyond the colors that we can see. There must be dimensions beyond the dimensions that we can perceive, and so forth. And what he is into is getting into these dimensions that he can't see, and that he's hoping through the use of meditation to get into this and to expand his imagination into the beyond. That's what he's getting. That's kind of what he's saying, or that's what I hear him saying. I'm sorry, there's a lot of wind out here, and it's blowing the thing that my computer, which is my camera. I'm using the camera on board my computer, and that's why everything is shaking. I'm not having an earthquake. Okay. Anyway, that's what he says. Now, contrast that to what Dogen is saying in Komyo. I've been talking about Komyo, which is Dogen's divine light, which has been the subject of I think it was 5 parts. I expanded it to a podcast. If you want to listen to my podcast, it's the Hardcore Zen podcast, and can be found wherever podcasts are found. I get it on Spotify. Apparently, it's on Apple Podcasts. It's everywhere podcasts can be found. I put it out through Podbean, so it's the Hardcore Zen podcast, and I'm going to be putting up a new one tomorrow with my nephew Ben, and it's going to be about ghosts. And I put up one last week with my nephew Ben that wasn't about ghosts. I've forgotten what it's about. I know Jabberjaw was mentioned. Anyway, I have a podcast. So I've been talking about Komyo, which is a Dogen essay, which is variously titled, but sometimes it's titled Divine Light, and I like that title best, and so that's what I've been talking about it in terms of that title. Anyway, I think I called it In the Light. Anyway, in Dogen's Komyo fascicle or essay, he says this: the entire universe is the true and real self, and the true and real self is the entire universe. There is nowhere to run and nowhere to hide from this true and real self. Even if there was a place to escape to, it would be through the vital path of bodily emancipation. That is the practice of Zazen. This present body, with its bones and skull, is the form and image of the entire universe. The entire universe that we practice in Buddhism is the skull, the physical body, the skin, the flesh, the bones, and the marrow. That's my paraphrase of what Dogen says. And just for, anybody who wants to know it, I copied down the Nishijima Cross version, which, as I often say, is like what would happen if you found a pair of magic glasses that allowed you to read medieval Japanese, even though you couldn't read medieval Japanese. And here's the Nishijima Cross version of the same thing, just in case you worried that you're not getting the real version when you hear my paraphrase. Here goes. Here we go. The whole universe in 10 directions, that's all directions, is the concrete self, and the concrete self is the whole universe in 10 directions. There is no scope for evasion. If there is a place of escape, it is the vigorous road of getting the body out. The present 7 feet of skull and bones, I don't know why he says 7 feet, because I don't think Japanese people were 7 feet tall back then, is just the form and image of the whole universe in 10 directions. The whole universe in 10 directions that we practice and experience in Buddhism is the skull and bones, the physical body, the skin, flesh, bones, and marrow. So that's a more close to direct translation, more, sort of even translation. So, to summarize, the Donald Hoffman version is like there's a whole universe out there that we're not getting, and I want to get to that, and it's over there. Dogen is saying something quite different. Now, Dogen probably started out from the Donald Hoffman position. I think we all do. I think I did. I think maybe I'm still probably stuck in the Donald Hoffman position myself sometimes. So that's the reason I'm doing this video. But what Dogen keeps reminding us is it ain't like that. It isn't that there's this great vast universe out there waiting for us to find. Well, maybe there is. But the reality, the full-on reality, is right here. This is it. This is the everything. This is all of it. Even the parts you can't see, the parts you can't experience, the parts you can't notice, they're all here. They're all still here. Even all those extra dimensions that you can't see, all those other colors that you can't experience because you don't have a pigeon's eye, all that stuff is right here. You're not going somewhere else to find it. You're not having to go into some kind of deep trance state to experience it. You're not having to take ayahuasca or LSD or mushrooms or MDMA or whatever drug that some guru on YouTube is telling you need to take in order to have. There's a lizard crawling up the wall. I love it when lizards crawl up the wall. Sorry, I get distracted. It's not all out there. You don't need all that to get the full experience of reality. You are having the full experience of reality just as you are right here and right now, even though you're feeling you're missing it. And if you took the ayahuasca and you had the experience of the fourth dimension in the colors that you can't see, then what's going on? You're missing this. You're missing this. So all you're doing is shifting this narrow perspective for another narrow perspective over here, and another narrow perspective over there, and another narrow perspective over there, and another narrow. You're just moving your narrow perspective into a different narrow perspective, and then you come back here and go, wow, I saw that narrow perspective over there, and I saw and then go, wow, I was seeing everything. But you weren't seeing everything. You were just going, oh, look at that. Oh, you're just getting that toilet paper roll like you had when you were a kid. When I was a kid, we did this. Took a toilet paper roll and put it up to your eye and went, look, it's a telescope. That's all you're doing. Even when you look at it, look through a telescope at outer space and at some planet. Okay, yeah, you're seeing Jupiter and the red spot really clearly, and then you're missing the rest of the laboratory. You're not seeing the other things around here. So you're changing one narrow perspective for another narrow perspective. So So doing that is, well, it's fun, and you can see another thing that you didn't see before, and, maybe it's useful, and maybe you get some other information, and, you go, wow, I got that other information, and great, I saw that thing. And you can tell people your story, and you can write a book about it, and you can go, hey, that was great. But you've just switched one narrow field for another narrow field. And what Dogen is saying is it's all right here. So that's why Donald Hoffman is wrong. So there you go. I've proven Donald Hoffman, a guy much smarter than me, is wrong. And I will get far, far fewer views on this video than Donald Hoffman will get for any of his. That's how it works. Anyway, that's the way it goes. If you want to help me, maybe make, I don't know, anyway, if you want to help me earn some money, you can go to the URL. I was going to compare how much money I make to how much money I imagine Donald Hoffman makes, which I think is a lot more than me, but I'm not going to do that. You can go to the URL you're seeing on the screen below, which is hardcorezen.info/donate. That is hardcorezen.info/donate. There you will find links to my PayPal and Patreon accounts. That is how I make most of my money, and I really appreciate your donations because that is my main means of support, and without it, I go broke. So I appreciate that, but as always, you don't got to donate if you don't want to donate, but I appreciate your support anyway, and maybe it'll help me find some powder to put on my nose so it doesn't shine when I'm out in the sun like this next time. We will see you next time. Have a good time all the time. Bye-bye. Siggy, how do you like it? Do you like being out here in the sun today? You're kind of limping, aren't you? Siggy's been limping for the last couple days, and I don't know why. It's not a really bad limp, but he's been definitely not favoring his right front leg, and I cannot see anything wrong with his leg, so I'm going to try to figure that out. Anyway, we'll see you later, Ziggy. Bye.